So when we look at the dress forms, there's certain things on these dress forms that will be on almost all of your dress forms. First of all, it's made from a really nice linen, and it's really strong fabric, and so that we can put pins in it and stuff. But remember, it's still a hard dress form, so there's a way to put in our dress form, our pins. All right. Okay, we also have our center front, and we're going to have our center back lines, and these are the seams that they put in here. They also put in your princess lines. Okay, they put in some twill tape here at the waist, and I've had students through the years go ahead and put twill tape at the hip, the full hip, and then also we mark off the shoulder line. But when we get there, I'm going to have you check it to make sure it's all accurate still. And these are not that old. The ones before this were really old, so we were able to get new ones, so we're really great. But if you have a wolf dress form, those are the older ones, but those used to be the industry standard, but that company has since gone out of business, so there's lots of different options, but this is a good name. We felt good about those. Okay, the other thing is we have side seams, and you're gonna wonder, well, why are those side seams done so differently? They're done this way so that through your muslin, you can feel it, all right? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we'll come back to the dress form when we're ready. All right, so the first thing is we're going to grab our fabric, okay? And Natalie's done a great job of getting my fabric all blocked and ready to go. And we give you the dimensions of the pieces so you can have it ready, but let me tell you how you would determine those dimensions, okay? So we're gonna do a collar. We're gonna do 3 different collars. We're gonna do the standing collar. We're gonna do the convertible neck rolled collar. And then you guys are gonna do a 3rd collar where you will design it of your choice. So depending on what you're draping, you want to find the longest width and the longest length, and then add about 4 inches to each one, all right? So we're gonna make a standing collar. So I'm gonna make it about 1.25 inches. And you remember now, as we do this draping, think about the patterns that you've made and what you've learned about patterns, okay? So that when I mention something, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And remember when we did our collars and we decided that we can't go up too high because we have hairlines and we have ears, and then and then it hits your neck. And so if we make this standing collar about 1.5 inches to 1.25 inches, that's the full length that we're gonna go. So if I add about 4 inches onto that, I'm at about 5 to 6 inches. Okay, so that might be our longest length this way. Okay, then when you drape half of the body, and then usually you double that for when you're cutting it out or making your pattern. So we're gonna drape collars on the right side, so we typically do the right side. So when I measure this neck, I get about, let me be a little bit more precise here. So I've got about 8 inches, so if I add 4 inches onto that, I'm at 12 inches. So I want a piece of fabric that's about 6 inches by 12, all right? And so 6 inches being the length, your lengthwise grain, and then the next number is your width. So we've kind of done the math for you, but that's how you would do it if you were determining what size of muslin to use. Okay, so the one thing I want to mention about draping is really fun. You need some sort of dress form. Some designers have actually draped on real models. I don't know how they did that. How do you put a pin in a real model to where it doesn't